Latinos in clinical research community. Today we are going to talk about financial resources during COVID-19. We want to provide some resources, some websites that could possibly help you in your business. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the PowerPoint. And there we go. Okay, so let's see. Okay, just a little disclaimer. We are not financial advisors. We're only providing this information for informational, educational purposes. We have no financial or other relationship with any of the organizations mentioned. And so one of the things we wanted to bring up, which I think a lot of businesses owners are aware of, is about the Payment Protection Program. The first round ended last year. The second round actually just opened up last week. And you can apply for this through your local bank or a lender. It is through the Small Business Administration, but you have to go through a local bank to get the loan. This time around, you do have to prove you've had at least a 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters 2019 versus 2020. So what does that mean? So for example, take quarter 3 in 2019 compared to quarter in 2020. If there was a 25% reduction or more, then that would be probably the quarter you want to use when you apply for this loan, or another quarter of any of those years. The other condition, you have to have no more than 300 employees. These funds can be used to cover payroll costs, benefits, mortgage, interest, rent, utilities, worker protection costs related to COVID-19, uninsured property damage costs caused by looting or vandalism during last year, and any supplier costs or expenses for operation. Originally in the first PPP loan, it didn't include all these items. I think they revised that, and it does include those items for the first round and then now the second round. Most of this loan can be forgiven if you use it the right way, and you're going to have to prove it once you submit all the paperwork and you ask for forgiveness. If for some reason part of it, all of it doesn't get forgiven, it turns into a loan 1%, and you have to repay it over a 2-year or 5-year period. It just depends when you receive the loan last year. And then I think this year, if you get it, it's going to be a 5-year loan. And the links right here will take you to the SBA website. They're actually going to tell you more about the PPP program and also to find a lender in your area. Let's see.
I think you have to go with your bank too.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually you do have to go with your local bank. I recommend going with your local bank. You already have that relationship with them. Hopefully they already have the portal open for you to apply. I know some are taking a lot longer to set that up, but for example, Chase, that's who we bank with, and they already opened it up last week. So definitely.
And I think that this also works for people that are independent contractors.
Yes, 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 it is. Yeah. And then there's like, I think, specific criteria, because when you're an independent contractor, you don't have payroll costs, but there's other things you have to show, like some kind of financial records, other things. So when you go to the actual SBA website, there's different information for business owners, independent contractors, and so forth. And it'll tell you what exactly you will need. Okay, and then the forgiveness portion. So I know some already applied for forgiveness last year. I don't know any personally, because even with the clients that I do small bookkeeping for, none of them have been forgiven. I think one out of several. We barely submitted the paperwork in December, and I haven't heard anything. So I'm not really sure what's going on with the forgiveness on the first loan. But this will also be through the same bank you received that loan from. Once they're ready for you to submit that, they're going to have some kind of portal, some kind of paperwork you have to fill out. They will let you know when they are ready to start accepting applications. For example, Chase, that I know of, is still not accepting applications. I don't know if you guys are familiar with anybody else, but they're not yet. So I'm not sure when they're going to be ready. Union Bank is, because I know I had to submit that for a client back in December. So it just varies per bank. Some of the things you are going to need, so have ready, save it in a folder, are your payroll records, your 940 annual report, 940 quarterly reports, financial records, employee details such as part-time versus full-time hours, their salary or hourly rate, receipts for specific expenses, know your payroll costs, your mortgage, interest, utility costs, operation expenses, property damage costs, any of those expenses that you want to be forgiven. Possibly your tax return. I think right now they're still working with 2019. I don't believe people have filed 2020. Maybe they have, but the IRS hasn't even opened the portal to accept tax returns until February. So right now, if you have to submit any of this paperwork, they're still working with 2019 tax returns. And to find out more, that's the link right there. It's also the SBA website, but there's a specific section that talks about the forgiveness process and what you need. Okay, so the next loan is an economic injury disaster loan. The first one that was offered in 2020 has closed. Then the one they're offering now, I think the portal just opened. If you go to this link right here, it'll guide you on how to apply for this specific loan. It's currently, they're taking applications from any small businesses and private nonprofit organizations. This is a loan. This is not a forgivable loan. You will have to repay this. It is a 30-year loan. This is the interest rate, depending if it's a business nonprofit. If you want to prepay it off early, there's no penalties or fees to do that. It's supposed to be used for working capital and normal operating expenses. If you get a loan, if you qualify for a loan over $25,000, you have they ask for some kind of collateral. If you don't need a loan over that, it's easier. I think it's easier to apply and get approved. Mm-hmm. Right now, they are deferring payments for a year, but the interest is still accruing.
One question, Judy, who can apply to this?
So far, it says all qualified small businesses and private nonprofit organizations. In regards to independent contractors, I'm not sure on the specifics of that. If they go to the link right here, it'll tell them exactly the
if you're independent.
What will be the difference in between this one and the previous one?
So the previous one is forgivable. So you can get the payment protection program money if you use it correctly, like you're supposed to, based on what it covers. Then you can, at one point when you apply to get it forgiven, there's a chance where you don't have to pay any of it back, or there's a chance you might pay a small percentage, depending, if you used it correctly. This one is just a loan. It's just a 30-year loan, and you do have to pay it back. And so over 30 years, depending how much you get, your payment can be very small. I think last year the max loan they were giving, I'm not sure if it was a max, but from what I heard, it was $150,000. I don't know if that was just for small businesses or it varied. This year, I'm not sure what loan they're giving. But yeah, you do have to pay this one back. So I would recommend, if you haven't applied to either one, go with a payment protection loan first and then apply for this one, or apply for both if you need both. But you can get both, by the way. So you can apply for the first one that I mentioned, and then you can apply for this one, and you still could get both. Let's see.
So were you going to say that, so that I interrupted?
No, last year, the 2020 EIDL, I remember getting one, and I remember the interest rate being really low. I think this is more higher this year. Yeah,
the PPP is low, the interest rate. So if it turns into a loan, it's only 1%. This one, I don't remember what it was last year compared to this year. But it's still low, I guess, compared if you spread it out over the 30 years. It's a small payment you could be paying each year. So there's other COVID relief options. Those aren't the only ones, but those are the bigger ones that have a lot more funding, I guess you can say, and more people would qualify for. But if you go to this link right here, Coronavirus Small Business Guidance and Loan Resources, they do have more resources for other businesses. They also have information on an SBA Express Bridge loan. So if you're looking at some other type of funding, that's another loan you can get. California specifically has a California Relief Grant. Small businesses, small nonprofits can apply. You have to meet certain criteria. The first round closed on the 13th, was a few weeks ago. Those who applied but did not get it will get rolled into the second round, and they don't have to apply again. The second round is supposed to open February 2nd, 8 a.m., and will close 6 p.m. February 8th. And that's the link for that one. And that's the one I think there's some funding the governor approved, and supposedly a bunch of businesses will be able to qualify and get this. I personally don't know anybody that got it yet, but I do know several that applied. Okay, so let's see. I wanted to put other local and city and county assistant links for you guys. The one I do recommend is going to a local SBA district office. So if you go to their website there and you put in your zip code or you put in your city, it's going to direct you to a bunch of local offices in your community that you can reach out to and get information, resources on. It just varies depending what city, state you're in. So that's the first one I would recommend. The other one is another small business majority organization. They also provide a bunch of COVID-19 resources, information about funding. And then I listed some examples in different cities or states. San Diego, there's a few, there's more than a few, but I just listed two. America's SBDC California, I am actually on their mailing list, and they service San Diego and Imperial County. I get updates from them weekly about what's going on with funding, other training things they have, webinars and stuff like that. And then the San Diego and Imperial Women's Business Center, a similar organization where they provide resources and things like that. Los Angeles County, this is one of them, but I'm sure they have many others. Arizona, this is another resource. Florida has its own, and Georgia and Texas. So these are just examples, but I know within each city and state, there's probably multiple organizations that have resources that you can reach out to and find out more information about COVID. If you're looking for, what's going on with reopening, or, what regulations are in place, maybe even funding, look into these, or even do a search for the local organizations.
I will add the Chamber of Commerce of each city. Yes. They offer a lot of resources too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any of those local organizations like that, they all have some kind of funding to help small business owners or business owners in their community with various things, not just COVID related stuff. I think it's just more trainings, webinars, free resources. Sometimes you can even speak to people and get more. Have a one-on-one business consultation, but you just have to look for those organizations and reach out to them and find out, which is the one you want to go with to get more resources and find out more information about. Some of the other things that you can get with COVID-19, everything going on, are credits for employers. For example, they have employers can get tax credits if they paid employees for sick leave, or they paid employees for family leave due to COVID-19. There's another employee retention credit that employers can get, and another payroll tax deferral credit. These are a little specific though, so I would definitely work with your accountant or payroll provider to see if you even qualify. Because originally, if you had got the PPP loan, or I think the EIDL loan, or both, you didn't qualify for these employer tax credits. But then I think I read that after that funding was used, you did qualify for these tax credits and you're able to get them. And so if you do qualify, this is something that has to be set up through your payroll provider. And or with whoever does your payroll to make sure you get these credits. Let's see. And then another recommendation, as we mentioned on the previous slide, is look into local and county nonprofit organizations. Many of those got funding to provide free PPE supplies to the community, to the businesses. So I would check with your county, local organizations. For example, Imperial County, there's, I think it's the city of Imperial, one of the organizations that was providing free masks, free gloves, free hand sanitizer, and I think free gowns to anybody that needed it in the community. And you could just call them and tell them, and I think go pick up. I don't know how much they were giving. Also, local medical society, same thing with Imperial County, our Imperial County Medical Society. They're updating all the doctors on what's going on with COVID, all the resources that are out there, maybe things that they might qualify for. And they also received, I think, a grant or had some money where they were able to give out free masks, face shields, and gloves to, I think, any physicians that wanted to pick it up at a certain time last year. I don't know if they're still doing it. So I would definitely reach out to those organizations, because if you're not subscribed to their email list, and you're not going to know about these, you're not going to see the updates, but you'll be surprised how many organizations actually have something that they're giving out free to businesses, business owners, and stuff like that. Let's see. So that was pretty much it. Pretty much, my recommendation is to look into the resources we provided here, but also do a search within your city, county for any local grants or funding. Look into specific grants tailored for minorities, women-owned businesses. There's specific grants just for that. There's specific grants for businesses in rural communities, specific grants for, just depending what kind of business you have. There's so many out there, but you have to do the research. I would recommend subscribing to the mailing list for the organizations I mentioned, any of these that provide weekly updates on what's going on in your community, the resources. That's how I find out about local grants in our community, free PPE equipment, stuff like that, because I'm subscribed to a few of these organizations. If you are a new business and you're looking for some business consulting, additional marketing, social media, or other resources, some of these organizations provide these services free of charge. They have grants to be able to meet with you and give you like so many hours of their time to help you with marketing or help you with social media, or they have a bunch of webinars on their website that you can go and listen to about all these things I just mentioned. Or if you're you want to know about the PPP process, I think they have webinars. If you want to know about the EIDL process, they have a bunch of webinars. English, Spanish, I think various languages. So definitely subscribe to those local agencies. And pretty much you got to do your research. If you want to find out everything that's going on, if you want to see what you can qualify for and what resources, you have to do your research. Don't wait for this information to come to you, because if you're not subscribed to all these various organizations, you don't know what's out there. You don't know what's going on. But there is a lot out there, and there's a lot of resources and a lot of stuff that you can get within probably your city or county. You just have to do the research. I think that was it.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you. Such a great information. We're going to be sharing all the links, right?
Yes. Yeah. So this is, yeah, I think we can post this. We're going to post this somewhere on our website or something, because I think if you go to the links, you can just click on it. Mm-hmm.
It'll go everywhere. Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and all of that good stuff. So thank you very much, Judy. Much needed resources for just about everybody out there who can qualify. And thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.